Live. Are we good to go here? Is it finally time to get the show going? We are live. It's working. Hello. Apologies, first of all, for the technical difficulties on the last attempt. I don't know what the heck was going on there. Just absolute nonsense. But good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Rob, and I'm here with Donald. And Gerrit Cole is the Cy Young. And I think that's the opening statement that needs to be said. There's no debate anymore who should be the American League Cy Young. Gerrit Cole just absolutely put the final nail in the coffin of the Cy Young. It's him. It can't be anybody else. He's an absolute monster, absolute ace, everything we could have asked for. Once again, going through a really good team in the Blue Jays, just mowing them down. The guy's an absolute stud. I love him. And I'm also very, very upset that the Yankees are wasting such a good season of Gerrit Cole. Donald, how are you? It's Friday.
Cy Young, baby.
Yep.
Let's keep it nice
There you go.
and simple. Cy Young. Cy Young all the way. No question about it. Give him the Cy Young. I don't want any argument. There's no argument to be had. Gerrit Cole's a Cy Young. Absolutely unbelievable. 8 innings. Unstoppable pitching. He's just marvelous. He's absolutely marvelous. And we have our main guy, Uncle T. Good morning, Uncle T. Where are you?
Where are you? Can't come on the show, but you're in the chat, huh? How's that work? You're gone one day, and we had this whole technical mess without you here. But here you are in the comments, Uncle T. What's going on? He's fishing. He's out there fishing. That makes sense. Tats is fishing. But yeah, look, Gerrit Cole has earned every single penny of that contract so far. You think about everything he's been able to do in such a short amount of time with the Yankees. He's broken several franchise records, and he's going to win his first Cy Young, and at least gives us something to look forward to this season to see that he's going to win that award. But I again, as positive as we can be about Cole, I can't help but be upset that they have wasted a season like this. Several of his starts that could have been victories. It's really upsetting. It is really upsetting. And so I don't want to take away from the positive thoughts. And Tats has got a special announcement. Ooh, all right. So some suspense here because I don't even know what I have no idea what he's talking about here. So this is kind of a surprise. Don't miss Mondays.
I'll send you the link in the chat, Uncle T, if you want to hop in.
Yeah. Tats, if you have connection there on that boat out in the ocean, please join us and give us on that special announcement. NFE says he was pitching a perfect game yesterday. Like, he was really good. Just really good against a really good Toronto lineup. So Monday's show, he's going to be doing a show from the tattoo shop. So, like, you're going to be in the middle of getting a tattoo. He caught his first fish, as Damien.
He's caught his first fish.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, he's here.
Himself.
He's here. Bobby Tats, live from the boat.
What's on, everybody? So, where'd I go?
Even he's having technical difficulties here. Well, and hey,
it's short but sweet. And that's our Uncle T.
Sweet Bobby Tats. Oh my God, what an absolute train wreck here on a Friday. Jeez. Oh my God. But let's get back to the game itself because we do have to talk about some baseball while we wait for Bobby Tats to return. They ended up winning the game 5-3, so they're back over 500. So that's a good sign. Was there anybody offensively that kind of stuck out to you? We know Bowers hit the home run, but Florial drove in one and Judge got an RBI. But anything really stand out to you?
Nothing stands out about our offense other than it's piss poor. Gerrit Cole is our offense. He's our offense and our defense and everything. Okay, we got Uncle T back. Well, at least we think he is.
Let's see if this works.
What up,
Pat, you
Uncle
with
T?
us? I don't think he's with us.
This is awesome.
Live from the Bobby Tats.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Earth to Tats.
All right, am I coming in now?
Yeah, you're there.
I don't know how much longer I got my signal for, but yesterday I was supposed to get tattooed, right? So unfortunately, my tattoo artist got sick, so we had to reschedule, which will be at Monday at 10 a.m. So I will actually be hosting the show from the tattoo shop while I get tattooed.
See the
Please
people
tell
on
me
the
you're
photos.
not going to get your ass tattooed. I really don't want to see that.
No. Totally G-rated. But no, I just wanted to, so Monday is going to be a show that's going to be one for the ages.
It's a good thing he has tattoos already, because if he didn't have one, he'd be like going through the pain of the constant needle going into his arm. He'd be like talking baseball, he'd be like, fuck. That'd be pretty interesting though.
It's going to be interesting, very different than anything that we've done before. But I got to get this appointment while I can. But I also, I've been missing too many days as is on the show. But so I'll be doing the show from the tattoo shop. So that should be very
Tats
fun for everybody.
is a badass. He's a badass. He doesn't take days off. He doesn't take days off. He'll have a needle in his arm, and he'll be talking baseball. He'll be talking Yanks for you guys. That is
It's like right now, Ian Tats is probably going, "Where the hell is that guy?" But
that is commitment, man.
Before I go, I'm glad the Yankees won. Cole should be the Cy Young. I think it's a no-brainer right now, and that's if he doesn't win it, then there's definitely a bias.
Who's Cole's competition?
I don't know. I can't think of anybody, because a lot of the good pitchers are coming out of the National League. So I think Cole should be running away with the AL award. The NL is interesting.
No, the NL, I think it's Snell. I think Snell solidified it in his last start. Yeah, Snell's been the best pitcher in the NL. There's no doubt about that.
FJ says Castillo. Yeah, I can. That's a good one for the AL. But I don't know how you can not give it to Cole at this point. He's just been, for the entire season, he's been good.
Yeah.
Like, he's had maybe one start where you're like, that was rough. But everything else, he's been giving you quality stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure that most of his starts have been a quality start. He's going deep into ball games. He's giving you a chance to win every single day. That's a Cy Young. Like, that's going to – if he doesn't win this award, you're absolutely right. There's a bias. And they just don't want him to win it, because he should have won it a few years ago. And he absolutely should win it this year. There should be no question who it is.
He'd be on 20 wins on a decent team.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the way the offense treated this whole pitching staff, not just Cole, is just criminal. So,
especially Cole.
I'm going to get going. The fish are starting to bite. So have fun, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. If you're going to be at the NYYU event tomorrow, I'll see everybody there. And have a good day.
Salute,
right,
Uncle T.
Go catch Damian a minnow. He wants to see it. And here, that was Bobby Tats. So, ladies and gentlemen, Monday morning, live from the tattoo shop, Bobby Tats is going to be talking baseball, getting a tattoo. That should be
How many podcasts have a live from a tattoo shop?
Not many. I can't think of one. Well, there's going to be one. There's going to be one, that's for sure. Now,
I hope he's got a high pain threshold, man, because we kind of have him just roaring during the podcast.
He wouldn't be Bobby Tats if he didn't. He's got the nickname for a reason. But let's get to baseball here. Damian brings up something. He says he's tired of hearing the cast talk about Flo's strikeout rate when half the team is just as bad. Yeah, that's been one of my issues for a while, is that they use that as a pretty much a a reason to not call him up. It's like, well, he's hitting 400 with a freaking slugging percentage of whatever, 4 something. The on base is through the roof. His OPS is almost 1,000. But because he strikes out, we can't give him a shot. Forget about the fact that we need defense. We need an outfield that can actually run. We need some pop. We need a guy that can get on base. He strikes out too much. We're not going to give him a shot. They used that against him, but they called up Pereira as soon as they possibly could, and he strikes out a lot. They have Judge and Stanton, and before he was hurt, Rizzo was striking out. We mentioned this the other day, how many guys are striking out in this lineup. Anthony Volpe's been striking out all season long. He's cut down on it a little bit in the second half, but he had 2 more last night. The fact that they kept him off the team just because of his strikeout rate, yet they called up so many other players who also strike out, it's like they were looking for every possible excuse to not give him a shot because they were afraid that if he played well, they would look like idiots. Well, so far, he's gotten on base in all but I think 2 games that he's played. So, I mean, what else could he do? And again, he's not tearing the cover off the ball, but the fact that they use this against him, he didn't strike out last night. He was only one of 3 guys that didn't strike out. So there you go. Like any given day, you can have a good day to play. I just don't like the way they treated him all season long.
That's the narrative. That was the narrative that they fed, and this is the narrative that they will continue to feed. This is why the Yes crew are shadowing that narrative. They're just repeating it because that's obviously what the front office is asking them to do. Because at the end of the day, there's no excuse, 0 excuse for Florial not to get an opportunity. There was none. Guy had 28 home runs in AAA. The Yankees couldn't hit in the corner outfields with Aaron Judge out. Couldn't hit. And they not only couldn't they hit, they couldn't field. Nobody could catch the frickin' ball in the outfield. No one in left field could catch a single ball out there. And yet Florial sitting there in AAA, who's a good outfielder, and he's got power. And he's 25. Like, there was no excuse. It was the most ridiculous excuse. And you look at the guys like, they're saying, oh, they're giving Pereira a chance and stuff. Pereira struck out between 35 and 40% of his at-bats so far since coming up. So that narrative is ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Aaron Boone, what was the first thing he was talking about when they called off Florial? He's like, oh, he has to work on his swing and miss stuff. I mean, like, that's obviously been a front office narrative that he's been asked to puppet. But it's a ridiculous narrative considering basically the entire lineup strikes out. Just admit it. Just admit it. You didn't rate him. Just admit it. It's okay, But they should have given him an opportunity. There was no excuse not to give him an opportunity because he's playing really damn well. Imagine if they gave him another month. Imagine if they actually had him in at the trade by the trade deadline. End of July. I think you'd be looking at a better team. You'd be looking at a team that's still, I wouldn't say in the wild card, but they'd be closer to the wild card. They'd be within a game or 2. I'm sure of it. Actually, had they just gone off of themselves, just admitted their mistakes. They just can't do it. As an organization, they can't do it. And that's why the Yankees are where they are. That's why Brian Cashman is going to have a fire Brian Cashman day, I believe, today. Because he has refused to admit his mistakes until it's far, far, far too late. Had he just admitted his mistake and just been like, right, well, you know what? Bowers are in this whole succession of people that are playing left field that can't catch the ball. Maybe I need to actually give someone another try, even someone I don't particularly like. You know what? And okay, so move to the 23rd. That's why it's frustrating. It's very frustrating because I really like Florial. I like the guy. He's good. Got a decent swing, got power, he's got speed, and he can catch the ball in the outfield. All the attributes we were looking for in a left fielder all year long.
He cost you nothing too. Like his contract, he's still on that like pre-arbitration deal. Like he's going to be a minor league free agent at the end of the season, And the fact that the Yankees just never gave him a shot. You said beginning of August, he should have been called up when Judge got hurt in June. Like, let's be honest here. He should have been called up in June. And they called up McKinney on top of already having Bowers and relying on Cordero and all these other guys and the Calhouns of the world and the Greg
They're
Allens.
bringing
And
back
like,
Allen. Greg Allen. What was that for?
And it didn't make any sense. And so Medina confirmed today is the Fire Cashman Day, and tomorrow is the NYYU event. Okay, so we got big 2 days at the stadium coming up. Fire Cashman Day, and then tomorrow you got Pete and the crew hosting NYYU event. So that's going to be fun. I don't know what is in store for tonight, how many people are going to be participating in the Fire Cashman festivities, but I think as much as I don't ever want to see this because that means the team is playing bad and the team is playing bad, the fact that we're going to have a Fire GM night at Yankee Stadium in the end of September, that should tell the organization everything they need to know. This fan base is upset. And are we spoiled? Yeah. Do we expect more? Yeah. Fuck yeah, we do, because you tell us every year that you expect to be a championship team. So the fans are going to take the matters into their own hands here. I don't think they're going to be doing anything stupid, but they're just going to be voicing their opinions as they should be able to. NFE, I don't know if people are going to be getting arrested or anything, but I would hope not. But if you just voice your opinion, let the organization know you're fed up with this, maybe it'll force them to make some changes that they don't want to make. But I still don't see, even if you had a Fire Cashman night the rest of the season, I don't see any way that they're going to be firing him. But it might cause them to make some changes. And I think it already has, because they're bringing in a third-party consultant to audit this team and look at how they operate. They're probably going to be bringing in more people to this front office and changing things up. That doesn't happen without the fans voicing their displeasures about this team and planning something like this. And the fact that we're going to be seeing it tonight, I think it's going to hopefully wake up this organization.
Shouldn't that be everything that the Yankees need to know, though, that they need to hire an outside consultant to look at what's going wrong with the organization when they're paying Brian Cashman more money than anyone else in the organization to actually have these answers? That's his job. It's his job. How many organizations hire outside consultancies? Not many. I can't think of any. Other than bad ones, really, really badly run ones. There's really no excuse for Hal Steinbrenner to actually even trumpet this, to even promote this as this is a good thing. Yeah, okay, it's good that they're trying to look at what's going wrong, but I can tell you in a heartbeat what's going wrong. You gave a 4-year extension to Brian Cashman after years of malfeasance. That's your answer. That's your answer. Right? Start from there and work from that. Right? Start from Brian Cashman completely changing the organization after 2017. Completely. All out analytics, everything else doesn't matter. And everybody has to run through me. That was a problem. Get rid of good scouts, get rid of good baseball coaches, get rid of good minds, get rid of those guys. Just listen to me. Bring in Aaron Boone to be a puppet, and let's just love our guys and coddle them and sing Kumbaya to them when they don't play well. There you go. That's your answer. So you don't need an outside consultant for that. We really don't. They just need somebody to come in and kick some ass. That's all they really do. That's all they really need. Someone that's accountable, kick some ass, and someone that's smart. Right? You know what? It's not really smart to hire to trade for a 38-year-old Josh Donaldson when inherit $50 million when we have a ton of infielders in our minor league system. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, does it? No, actually it doesn't, Brian. Sorry. Start from there, Hal. Start from there. You don't need an outside consultancy for that.
Yeah, and everybody but the Yankees saw it. Like that's what bothers me the most and I've said this on countless occasions. You've said it on countless occasions. Smarter Yankees, right? That's what Pete's been saying. It's been the whole saying in NYYU this entire year. Smarter Yankees, and everybody else saw it. We all were very skeptical going into the season. I thought we were going to win a lot more games, obviously, but I was also very, very upset with the fact that we didn't get a left fielder. The fact that we were rolling back a lot of the same issues from the year before, and the fact that they lied to us and said that we're not done yet, but they were done. And everybody saw these issues. There's not one person in the world that would have said, you should give Franchi Cordero the shot before Esteban Florial. You should go with Billy McKinney before you go with an Everson Pereira. You should go with anybody at catcher instead of Austin Wells. You shouldn't trust your prospects. Josh Donaldson over Oswald Peraza, perfect choice. Nobody would have told you that. And the fact that we were sitting here day after day after day saying, why aren't they calling up these kids? Why aren't they giving so-and-so a shot? That's why we're upset. That's why the fans are angry, but everybody saw it. And the fact that they have to now bring in a third-party consultant to tell them the same thing that we've been saying all season long. Oh, wow. Right on time. NFE says he's waiting for LI to pop in.
LI,
and there he is.
Does LI just get does he get a notification on his phone if anyone mentions the word LI on live stream? It pops up. This is incredible. You are truly remarkable, my guy.
What did you say about Florida? Look, going into the season, said he shouldn't make the team because he had a terrible spring. Compared to the other guys that were vying for the job, they weren't cutting Aaron Hicks. Obviously, if that would have been the case, you could have cut Hicks before the season, great. But he deserved a shot a lot sooner. That I did own up to. I said, LI, you were kind of right there. I said he should have been given a second chance a hell of a lot sooner than he was. I still don't think he would have been the savior. I never once said he would have been the savior, but he would have made the team a little bit better. Couldn't have been worse. And that's all we've been saying, is it couldn't get worse. But they rolled with the lineup that failed to score 3 runs consistently day in and day out. They're like, oh, we'll get Judge back. Oh, we'll get Bader back, and everything's going to be fine. Once Stanton's here, we're going to score a ton of runs, and Stanton can't hit the ball to save his life. And it's even got the guys on the Michael Kay show questioning what the future is for him. So they just completely screwed up this season. Donald give my you must have it like the bat signal. It's like somebody says LI.
The LI signal?
The LI signal, because he just comes. That was too good. It's like I don't know if NFE and LI are in cahoots with each other right now, and they planned that out, because that was simultaneous. The second he said that, LI popped in the chat.
It's one of the great moments in Pinch by Chronicle history. It's one of my favorites. That was genius. NFE, you're a genius. LI, you're remarkable. And you're a prophet as well. You were right about Florial. And we never doubted you regarding Florial. We both liked him. We actually thought he was more of a fourth outfielder rather than a starting left fielder, but we wanted him to get an opportunity. We just couldn't understand why the Yankees didn't pick a direction. That was my argument from day one, even before Aaron Judge went down, when we were a third place team. And you were looking at this bench, and our bench was a joke even before Aaron Judge and everybody went down. Our bench was a complete joke. And I was thinking, what is our direction? They don't have a left fielder, and the bench is terrible, and they are an injury away from chaos. And that's exactly what happened. It was amazing. That this team was completely built around Aaron Judge, and Rizzo had to play every day. Because if they didn't, this whole thing was going to collapse like a house of cards. And that's exactly what happened. Once Judge and Rizzo went down, the whole thing was a train wreck. And all of it could easily have been avoided had they just picked a direction. But our argument is, and it always has been, you need to have an idea what you're doing. To start a season, you need to have a purpose. Our purpose is we're going to go out and want to try and win a world championship. And you need to make the moves that are in accordance with that. Or we're going to try and develop our prospects. So that you need to make decisions that are in accordance to that. But the Yankees did neither. And that's why they ended up where they were. Had they, at the start of the season, when things started to go wrong, just picked the direction and went, right, this is our opportunity to develop our kids, see what we got, and see if they can give us a lift before the trade deadline, and then we'll have an idea what we're doing by the trade deadline. But they refuse to do anything. And they're the only organization I know that relied on veterans that couldn't walk or run that are just suddenly going to turn it on like a magic elixir, as opposed to their prospects that are hungry, that are fast, that are desperate to prove themselves at the big league level, and they ignored all that until September. Imagine how good this team would have been had they made this move 6 weeks before.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really is. And just look at what Aaron Judge and Gerrit Cole have been saying since they called up the prospects. They've been nothing but complimentary of them. Austin Wells has got nothing but compliments for the way he's handled the pitching staff. Peraza, people love Peraza's energy. People love the energy that Dominguez provided, Pereira provided, Florial's provided, you name it, provided. There's your answer right there. I don't know what Brian Cashman was afraid of. And from what I understand, Hal Steinbrenner was the one that was pushing for this in September, because if it was Brian Cashman's way, I don't think any of this would have happened. We'd still be looking at Billy McKinney.
Yeah. The whole season's been ruined. And it could have been, and no one, I don't think any of us have come out here and said that they would have been in the playoffs if they made these moves sooner, but they would have been closer. That's all we've been saying. They would have been playing important games at this point. This series against Toronto would have been huge had they just picked a direction, like you said, and made different moves. But I do want to pick up on something Jonathan said here. So the Yankees need starting pitching also. And I wanted to talk about Michael King, because the dude struck out 13 batters the other night. 13. He went 7 innings and he struck out 13. So he's been stretched out. And we talked about this the other day. Would he be part of the rotation next year? That's their plan. Obviously, they have that planned out. We know they want Yamamoto. But I still think they should explore the idea of getting another starter, because you don't know if Michael King is going to be able to continue this next year. You can definitely assume he can, because he's pitching really well right now, but you don't know about Nestor's health. You don't know what Clark Schmidt is. Is he more of a multiple inning bullpen guy? I think he's been a solid starter this year, but
I think he's a fifth starter.
Yeah, he's probably a 5th starter at best, which is fine. But after Cole and Rodon, you don't really have that number 3. And if you get Yamamoto, that's that. And you have Thorpe coming up. So I will ask this question to you, and I'll ask to the chat. Would you potentially sell high on Michael King while he is proving the value that he has as a starting pitcher, or would you keep him next year and just immediately insert him into the rotation? What would you do with Michael King?
I'm not moving Michael King because he's still our dark horse. I think that we've figured out that he actually could be a starter, and I don't think organizations have caught on to that just yet. And him just bowling people over with 13 strikeouts is a testament to the fact that I don't think that the league is prepared for him as a starter. So the Yankees might have actually done something smart for once, which is great, because they might have found themselves a real gem here. King needs to be here next year. He needs to be in the starting rotation as a 4th starter. I like Clark Schmidt. I think he probably should be our 5th starter, but if there's someone to sell high between the two of them, it would be Clark Schmidt for me.
Yep.
Because I think King has shown a little bit more upside. But as I say, I really like Schmidt too. But between the two, I keep King. King's proven it. He's proven it in the bullpen, and he's now proving it as a starter. He's got that swing and miss stuff that Schmidt doesn't have. He's got that a few elite pitches that Clark Schmidt doesn't have. Clark Schmidt just has that nice curve, but that's really it as a standout pitch, not as his only swing and miss pitch. Mike King is a much better plethora of pitches, much better arsenal of pitches that he can go to and rack up 13 strikeouts. I don't think Schmidt has that, but I like the both of them. So to answer your question, for me, King stays all day long. Put him in that rotation next year.
Yeah, I agree with that. If there's one of the two that you sell high on, it'd be probably Schmidt. because I feel like the Yankees and Cardinals are going to make a trade next in the offseason. The Cardinals need starting pitching. We need infield / outfield help. They have multiple guys that can do that. I've brought them up several times. Tommy Edman is a guy that I would love on this team. And I know Brendan Donovan's name's been brought up several times as well. I'd be perfectly fine with him. The Cardinals have a lot of younger bats coming up. They also still have Goldschmidt and Arenado they're paying big money to, and they need starting pitching. We kind of have a surplus now, especially if we get Yamamoto. I'm just going to go on this basis that we're going to sign him. So let's say we get him. All of a sudden, you kind of have a surplus with guys like King and Schmidt and Nestor, with guys coming up the pipeline, because we can't forget Luis Heel is going to be healthy next year. So there's another option, although his stuff probably plays better out of the bullpen. But you've had Vasquez show he could be a decent starter this year, even though they've kept him in the bullpen. We know Thorpe's coming up, Hampton's coming up, Richard Fitz. I think the Yankees can move one of those two in King and Schmidt, most likely Schmidt, and they could probably get a guy like a Tommy Edman that can play third base next year. And I think that'd be a really good fit. He's a switch hitter, gets on base, a good contact bat. Or maybe you go with Donovan, a guy that can play the outfield. And Edman can play the outfield as well. But Donovan could fit this team like a glove because he can play so many positions and you could start him anywhere. And it can allow you to make a multitude of moves where maybe Peraza becomes a trade chip. Maybe they explore moving Gleyber Torres. I don't know. But it gives them options, and I think that if you sell high now on a guy like Clark Schmidt, you can get something good in return for him because, again, we've seen the Yankees and their starting pitching. It's so, like, it's a seesaw every year. Like, one year, they can be really good, and then Schmidt can fall off a cliff. We've seen the way they've treated him just in a couple of years. Bullpen starter. Maybe it's a time to sell high on him now and keep that spot freed up when Drew Thorpe is ready. And also, NFE, I agree about Nestor Cortez. I don't know anymore because he's been hurt all season long. Is he a 5-inning guy? What is he going forward? I don't know about Nestor, but I would assume going into next year, he's going to be right there in that rotation with King, with Schmidt, with Vasquez, and maybe even Thorpe, Luis Heel. There's going to be a competition there. But what do you do? What do you do at Nestor Cortez, assuming we get Yamamoto and King's there and Schmidt's in competition? What do you do with Nestor Cortez?
I still give Cortez another shot. I think he's earned it. He definitely has earned a shot at breaking into the rotation again. I mean, this season's been a complete disaster. It's been a total wash. But the season before, he was an all-star. And he was pitching no-hitters and stuff like that. So I think it would be overly harsh on Cortez to give up on him because, yeah, admittedly, terrible year. It looked like he just didn't have command of any of his pitches. He was rushing it, and it looked like the league was catching up to him. But he still earned another shot, and I think you'll see a better Nestor Cortez next year. Medina agrees with me that Schmidt, you could probably sell high on him. And Damien says Kluber changed the game for King when he taught him his slider and two-seam. Really good point, Damien. I'll give you a star for that. Kluber actually did have an impact on these pitchers. He really did behind the scenes. I think he worked with them and worked on the two-seamer and that slider that he had. I think he was a good influence on some of these guys. Cortez deserves to be in the rotation. He's earned it. I agree. Jonathan says Cortez back to the bullpen if we get Yamamoto. I don't think so. I think he should be in the rotation.
Yeah, I think Cortez has that leg up because you can use another lefty in there. Having a couple of lefties in your rotation never hurts. You'd have Cole, Rodon, Yamamoto, King, and Cortez. That's a pretty good starting five. That's a really good starting five, actually. Especially if Cortez as your number 5 starter just gives you 5, maybe 6 a game. You can't complain about that. And that would allow you to maybe move Clark Schmidt in a trade, and Johnny Brito can be that Michael King out of the bullpen because he's been that guy lately. He's been lights out, like Ramiro Mendoza good in his role this year. So I think that at the very least, it gives them options. Because if they don't get Yamamoto, I don't think they're going to be spending on starting pitching. They could go after a guy like Nola, but I don't know if they want to go that route. I think Yamamoto is their guy, and if they don't get him, they're just going to roll with Schmidt, King, Cortez, maybe Thorpe gets a shot, Luis Heel. They're going to trust who they have after Cole and Rodon, but that's a lot to put on Rodon necessarily because you got to pray he's better next year. Like if Rodon is pitching to what he should be on the back of his baseball card, then the rotation is going to be outstanding next year. But if Rodon's having another year like this one, then we're going to be asking some tough questions at this point next year. But I think for me, Nestor needs to be in the rotation. But if he starts to struggle like he did this year and he's healthy, you got to explore the bullpen for him, maybe as a long relief guy.
Talking about bullpen, Rob, question. Clayton Beater, is he an option for next year?
He should be. They have to protect him from the Rule 5. That's one thing they have to be able to do. He quickly came up as one of our top prospects. His stuff probably plays better out of the bullpen. Which
that's what I meant. Yeah, do you think he's like a bullpen closer stuff? Do you think?
I don't know about closer stuff, but I would say he can be a. You're kind of looking for someone that can take the Michael King role as a guy because Brito doesn't throw hard, but he throws the ball well out of the bullpen. Where Beater could potentially be the next Michael King for you. You can easily say the same thing about Clark Schmidt, but I feel like Beater's a guy that they should protect, and they should certainly give him a shot going into spring at making the rotation or the bullpen, because we've seen the way that they've turned guys into really good bullpen arms. I think Beater's got a really good shot to be in the bullpen next year, unless if they plan on losing him, they gotta protect him. That's the thing. They gotta protect him from the Rule 5, and then I can easily see him being part of the team next year in the bullpen.
What have we got here? NFE says bullpen guy for sure. Agreed. NFE, I would want Nola if the Yankees don't get, but Medina says pass on Nola. What are your thoughts on Nola?
I'm not 100% sold on him. I think he's good, but I think if you're looking for if you're going to choose between one of the two, him or Yamamoto, I'm taking Yamamoto. Because I just feel like he has more upside. His stuff is filthy. Nola's a good pitcher. Don't get me wrong. But we've also seen the Yankees don't have the greatest track record of bringing in guys to the AL East. And even though he's in the NL East, I don't really trust a track record of, let's bring him here, and all of a sudden his home run numbers jump up. We saw that with Rodon this year. I feel like Nola's going to get a really good deal from a team like maybe Baltimore if he doesn't re-sign with Philly. Maybe a team like the Dodgers go after him because they can use pitching. But I think, like Damian says, I'd actually go after Blake Snell before I go after Nola.
Yeah, I can see that. I want Yamamoto. I think he's Brian Cashman's dream. He was there. The Yankees have to get him. They have to. They have to make a statement signing. They really have to make a statement signing. That's one of them. But they also, you look at, we talk about the pitching a lot, man. But our offense, we're 29th in batting average. We're 29th in like OPS. Like, we're so bad. Like, our lineup is so bad. It's so deeply troublesome. So many metrics were bottom 5, sometimes bottom 2 in the entire majors with a like $300 million payroll. Is absolutely insane, completely insane. So yeah, I want to sign Yamamoto, but they really need to put serious thinking behind this lineup. They obviously they can't be so right-handed. Austin Wells is an automatic, like, easy choice now for me that he should be part of a platoon next year. You've got a lefty now that has a power bat that can catch fine. Like, he's a fine catcher, no problems there. I think he should be your catcher. So at least that adds another lefty bat, but they need to bring in a couple others. They really need to completely reshape this batting lineup. So it's an absolute priority for me because it doesn't matter who's pitching. They could be pitching to 270 ERA like Gerrit Cole and be winning Cy Youngs, but the Yankees could still be in fourth place because their offense is an absolute travesty. So that's my big takeaway from this season.
Yeah, Cole has 4 losses. he could easily be 20-4 right now. Like you mentioned it earlier in the show, he could have 20 wins if the offense was somewhat competent. And like you're looking at next year, your lineup is not much different because Dominguez won't be healthy. And losing him is huge because if he been healthy and penciled in next year as a starting center fielder, you're feeling a lot more confident about the offense. But right now, you don't have a left fielder. You don't have a center fielder because we don't know what they're going to do with Florial, and I don't know if he's going to be brought back. And
Dominguez is apparently 9 or 10 months.
Yeah, so you're looking at what would that be, like July, maybe All-Star break return for Dominguez if they want to play it safe, which they should. Do not rush him back. He's 20 years old, for crying out loud. Don't ruin this kid's career before it even starts. Get him back when he's 100%. But you don't have a left fielder. You don't have a center fielder. You have a right fielder. You don't know if you have a first baseman because they treated Anthony Rizzo so poorly. You have a second baseman.
Well, you don't know if you have a second baseman because he might be traded.
I think at this point, I would still look to move him because I feel like his value it won't be any higher. But
he also did himself no favors yesterday, but almost blowing Gerrit Cole's game yesterday.
Yeah. So you figure to have a second baseman. You have your shortstop. Do you have a third baseman? That's what Li just brought up. Do we need a third baseman? We have Peraza. Would you pencil? You think so? I'm still not sure what they want to do with him because they haven't necessarily shown that they trust him.
Oh,
They're only playing him now because they have to play him now because they have no other choice but to play him. But they could have had him up here all season. They used every excuse possible to not have him up here. They chose 8 different outfielders to have on the roster over him. So I wonder if they're going to maybe look to move Peraza and keep Torres. Or if they move Torres and that means they trust Peraza, I'm not sure. But they do have a lot of holes on this roster. You need at least 2 outfielders. You might need a third baseman. You might need a second baseman. You might need a first baseman. We're looking at a whole, the only constant Judge is going to be there. Volpe's going to be there. Yeah. Judge and Volpe. Because you can't be sure about Rizzo. You can't be sure about Glaber because you don't know if they're going to look to move him. You can't be sure about Peraza. We don't know what Austin Wells is. And I like what Damian brings up here. Go after Juan Soto, man. Because San Diego's trade, their leverage is plummeting. They could have traded him this past deadline and gave a team an extra half a season with him. Look, I like Spencer Jones. I think he's going to be really good. But if you can go get Juan Soto, I go get him. Because that solves left field. That solves a huge, huge need in the middle of your lineup. You imagine him hitting in between Judge and Stanton. Because I don't think Stanton's going anywhere. But, Juan Soto would have hit 50 in Yankee Stadium in his sleep. He's got like a 400 on base every single year. The guy's an absolute dream for the middle of this lineup. Would you go after would you put a trade package centered around Spencer Jones and maybe Peraza plus more for a Juan Soto?
I'd love to avoid giving up Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez in any package. I think those 2 guys are something that you can really build upon. But if I was to choose between one of the 2, we at least know that Dominguez can do this at this level. So I guess so. But we do need Soto. We need something. We need Bellinger probably. But what we really need to do is we need to have a smart GM that can just make the right moves, make the right calls. They're not all going to be stars. You don't need to bring in a star in every position. Just make the right decisions. My opinion, I think third base is fine. I think Peraza and LeMahieu can hold down third base, no problem. Volpe short, no problem. I think catcher's fine. I think Wells and and Trevino / Higashioka can do it. I don't have a problem there. First base, I would look to get younger there, or if Rizzo can do it, fine. But I would then make Spencer Jones in AAA work on being a first baseman, so that we know that he's got a trajectory for that position. Possibly by 2025, I would make that move. Gleyber Torres, I still think that probably extend him just because we need some offense. And left field, I would go get Bellinger. Center field, I think Dominguez will be ready by July. But so you probably want to get a veteran in there to compete with Florial for center, and then right field Aaron Judge. That's a decent team. It is a decent team. They need to get some power in there though. For sure, need to get some legit power from the left side. So you probably need to make one major move, like a Soto, that would change the trajectory of this season. They definitely need to do something. The Stanton situation, Michael K brought it up. I don't know. I wouldn't buy him out. I still think that it's better having 25 home runs and 25, 30 home runs on your roster than not. But I know that he's more of a negative than a positive right now. I'm not dismissive of that. It is an issue. But there's a lot of things that need to be answered. But one thing that does need to be answered is that Gerrit Cole is our absolute ace and Cy Young. Let's get back to Gerrit Cole. So who else could possibly take this off him? I don't think there's anyone. Like Sonny Gray was mentioned once. I don't think so. It's Gerrit Cole, surely. But maybe we should compare the stats between him and Castillo.
Yeah, they both have the same record, but I was just looking, or not the same, but same amount of wins. But in terms of ERA, Cole has him by a good 25, 30 points. So
Wow.
Castillo has a 306, Cole has a 275, so 31. Gray is 8-7 with the 284. So Sonny Gray is close to Gerrit Cole in the ERA department. The next closest would be Bradish with a 301 with Baltimore, and Valdez is a 320. So I think it's really Cole, Gray, and Castillo that might have that big competition. But then you look at the strikeouts. Gerrit Cole is the top in the American League. And actually, he's second to Pablo Lopez. But Cole has 10 more strikeouts than Castillo. And he has far more than Sonny Gray. So Cole, he seems to be the front runner. If you look at in WHIP, Castillo has Cole there. No, actually doesn't. Cole has him by 0.3. So Cole is pretty much the runaway right now. It's hard to see any other guy taking this from him. I think Cole might have one more start left in him this year. If that next start he's just good, if he goes like 6 and gives up a couple of runs, I think it's his to lose. He can't, if they give it to somebody else, it's because Castillo throws a perfect game in his next start, and Gerrit Cole maybe gives up like 4 runs. But even then, I still don't know how you give it to anybody else but Gerrit Cole, because he's been doing it from start to finish. It's his award to lose. I don't see how they can give it to anybody else.
No, it's definitely his award to lose. And the best example is of Blue Jays order, which has kicked our ass. And they've got a lineup that's kicked our ass all over the shop. Gerrit Cole comes in, even with a broken lineup, and he comes in and shuts them down. Basically, no hits them through, 5 innings? 15 up, 15 down at one point. Gerrit Cole was just unbelievable, impossibly good. Actually, impossibly good. He is remarkable. It's just mind-blowing what he does. And I think he was asked, what's been his motivation, considering the Yankees have been out of it. He says his son's been his motivation because, he's there every start, and he wants to put on a show for his son. He certainly does that, man. He's everything we could possibly have dreamt of when we brought Gerrit Cole in. What a signing. That was an unbelievable signing. Like Gerrit Cole has lived up to every penny, in my opinion. My personal opinion, he's lived up to every penny, and
For sure.
more than merits a Cy Young this year. And he's been our horse. He's been our rock. He doesn't miss a start. He's accountable, and he's already breaking strikeout records and Ron Guidry's records, and he's just the man. He really is. And supposedly a down year last year, he was actually historic for the Yankees. So it really said something about Gerrit Cole's standards. That a down year for Gerrit Cole standards, and he was an absolute monster, breaking records, strikeout records. And then this year, Cy Young. Just what a guy. What a guy. And that kind of motivation where you, every 5 days, you ball the frick out. And it doesn't matter that the lineup can't do shit. Like any other human would be sitting there going, you guys fucking suck. Fuck you guys. I'm out of here. Right? Because I would be frustrated. Like there was a couple starts there where he'd be going 7 innings, freaking no-hit ball. And the Yankees were doing the same freaking thing. If anyone else would be like, this team freaking sucks, I'd be furious. He doesn't. He just goes out there, does his freaking thing. That's a man right there. Absolute man. So big shout out to Gerrit Cole. I really hope the Yankees do something right by him and Aaron Judge, and actually put together a team that's capable of winning a championship for him and Aaron Judge at some point in the next year, because they have to. Because you're blessed to have these two generational players, and Brian Cashman conspired to find a way to make this team an awful product. So, then another Brian Cashman reference, but you have to. I'd be frustrated if I was Gerrit Cole. These numbers are ridiculous. They're like prime Roger Clemens, prime frickin' Andy Pettit, 90s Andy Pettit, and he's putting up these kind of freaking numbers. Yeah, and it's for a last place team, fourth place team. I'd be furious.
I mean, he struck out 9 batters and walked 0. 8 innings, 107 pitches. That's in today's game to be through 8 innings and only have 107 pitches. That's like unheard of, because usually guys get pulled after 100. His numbers were so good, and they almost blew it. Clay Holmes has not been good for the last couple of months, and he's done it again. He didn't get help with the error from Torres, but it goes to show you that Gerrit Cole not signing Corbin in order to sign Gerrit Cole was the smartest move that Cashman has made in a very long time. Because could you imagine had they signed Corbin the year before and then weren't able to sign Gerrit Cole, and he went back to Houston or something, or went to another team, and oh my God. And it really makes me upset.
2 more championships and he'd have 2 Cy Youngs. Guaranteed.
Yep. Absolutely. He absolutely would have. But it does, at least we have that. We have, and that should just tell this organization everything. Like, you have a top 5 pitcher at the start of your rotation. People kept him out of their top 10 this year, and he's like, fuck you. Let me show you something. And
right?
Here he is being once again showing that he's a top 5 guy. You have, in my opinion, the best player in the game in Aaron Judge, and you're wasting it. Aaron Judge is hurt. He's missed 50-plus games this year, and he's still your home run leader. He's still your best run producer. Like, how are you wasting that? I hope, and I've said the other day, this is the most important offseason in this team's history, because they can either find a way to make this even worse, or they can say, we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that we get a ring for our captain and for arguably the best pitcher this team has ever had. Because I don't know, as good as Andy Pettit was, and Pettit has that postseason pedigree, but you look at those numbers, you compare Cole, like regular season numbers, to Pettit, Cole has them. Like Cole's doing things that Pettit didn't do with the strikeouts and the constant innings and all that stuff. So
he's definitely the best pitcher we've had in the modern era. He's better than CC Sabathia. He's better than Mike Mussina. Better than Pettit. Roger Clemens can give him a good run, but I think he's this year he's outpitched Clemens as a Yankee. Now, obviously, Pettit and all these dudes are always ahead of him in terms of what they've given. Pettit's my favorite Yankee pitcher of all time, but if you're looking at all-time Yankee pitchers, Whitey Ford's there, Kidry's there. There's some significant competition, but Cole's catching up, man. Cole's easily going to be, for me, once it's all said and done in his Yankee career, will be top 5 best pitchers ever to wear pinstripes. I'm very, very confident of that. I really do think that.
I think it can even be higher. I think it could be top 2. He might not be number 2.
That's a big statement to say, but in terms of starters, yeah, I can say so. You can make that argument. He's been remarkable. It was a remarkable year, and it's not easy to go out every 5 days knowing that your team is a sub 500 team or a 500 mediocre team that has no chance, and you're pitching like it's Game 7 of the World Series. That's hard to do. It takes a lot of mental strength and fortitude, and just all out ability, and he's got all of that in spades. Real, absolutely blessed to see him every 5 days, as we are blessed to see Aaron Judge on a daily basis. I do agree with what FJ says, though. I do believe there's an anti-New York bias in the voting media. I completely agree with that. The best example is Derek Jeter not winning an MVP that was stolen from him, and then having unanimous Hall of Fame stolen from him as well, from some faceless idiot, God knows where, in some field somewhere in the middle of America that doesn't know shit about baseball, that's trying to downgrade Derek Jeter, who's, for me, on the Mount Rushmore of Yankees of all time. So it really, really pisses me off to this day. So, yeah, there is definitely an anti-New York bias. I mean, Aaron Judge got robbed of an MVP. We go through it. Matsui, he was robbed of Rookie of the Year, and then they gave it to Ichiro, didn't they? It was like
Ichiro was 2 years before.
Yeah, right. But they changed the rules for Matsui when it was his rookie year. They didn't count it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's like
who did they give it
changed
to
the
that
rules.
year?
They changed the rules. You know what I mean?
Who won it that year? That in 2003? I got to look that up now.
Yeah, but that's what they do. They changed the rules for the Yankees. So they did. So there, I have no doubt that Gerrit Cole's vote is going to be closer than it should be. But I can't see any competition. I really can't. He deserves it. Absolute love 10. Rob, close it out for us.
They gave it to Angel Baroa in 2003 over Matsui.
I rest my case.
Yeah, Suzuki won it in 2001 for obvious reasons. And then Eric Hinsky, Yankee legend, in 2002. And 2003 was Angel Baroa. So, yeah, Angel Baroa. That's insane. So, look, there's a clear bias there in certain categories. But if they take this away from Gerrit Cole, then we know for sure that there is a bias. Because right now, we just went through the stats. You can't pick anybody else. You can't. And yeah, I think that's all about that. That is all it needs to be said. Yeah, and he can opt out, but the Yankees will add it next year. There's no way they're going to let him walk. No way. And if Gerrit, and LI, before we close out here, he asked, is 45 going to get retired? If the Yankees win a couple of rings with him, I think they will. I think they're going to retire 45. Let's say even if he gets one, and he's already broken several records with this team, why wouldn't you retire that number? I don't see
the amount of retired numbers. We're going to need an old new stadium for retired numbers.
We're going to have to start wearing like 01, 02. They might have to start thinking about unretiring some numbers. Like, as much as I love Paul O'Neill, the fact that they waited so long to retire 21, I thought they should have just kept it unretired. You know what I mean? Like, because they waited years to retire the number. And they almost gave it to somebody. And I think it was like LaTroy Hawkins was about to get it. And people went crazy. Like, how could you give this guy his number? And they didn't do it. But I was like, why couldn't they have given it to like one of their top prospects coming up? Like, I would have liked to have seen Aaron Judge get that number. You know, that would have been pretty cool. But him picking 99 just, I don't know, something about that 99 just stands out. But like there are certain players that like Gleyber Torres when he got called up, I was like, he looked pretty cool at 21, but they waited years and years to do it. Now Paul O'Neill deserves it because he was an outstanding Yankee, but they waited far too long. And you might see triple digits at some point with the way the Yankees are going. Because we know 99's getting retired.
I think 45's going to get triple digits. Remarkable.
Might just stop wearing numbers and just put the names on the back of the jersey at this point. They might have to. But that is going to wrap it up for us here at Pinstripe Chronicles. You guys in the chat have been amazing. Will Starr just popped in. Medina, NFE, LI. My dad, FJ, TC popped in. How many other people do we have in here all day? Spencer was here a little bit earlier. Just a great chat as always. Damien, good to see everybody as usual. Dev,
thanks for your patience with our mishaps the first.
Yeah. Couldn't hear us. We got a new stream up. You had Bobby Tats coming out announcing, make sure you guys are here Monday because Bobby Tats live from the tattoo shop is going to be
he's going to get his ass tattooed with mother.
It is going to be a sight to see. And once again, thank you to everybody. Once again, we love you all. We will see you all again Monday, but make sure you check out the Sunday show with Lynn and Chris. They're going to be breaking down this awful season on the Upper Deck. So tune into that Sunday at 11 a.m. And we will be back on Monday with Bobby Tats from the tattoo shop. So we're not going to take his line. We're just going to say this. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. And it was Brian Cashman. We will see you all very soon on Monday morning, bright and early. Let's go, Yankees. See y'all later.